All right, hello everybody. Welcome to my stream. I'm DC, and welcome to another Tech Friday. Yay! Right here on twitch.tv/DC Lasair. You can find all my links by typing !DC into my chat and going to dclasair.bio.link. Yes, and you may notice you can see my green screen being green, and that's for a very specific reason, because we're going over lighting today on this Tech Friday. Yay! Specifically 3-point lighting, which is the classic lighting technique. And so in a bit, I'm going to turn off all my lights and then turn them on one at a time. Herb, hello! Thank you for the sub. 28 months. Holy cow. All right. Yay, resubs. Woohoo! Man, okay. Lighting, yes. So 3-point lighting is... Oh, I also have my screen mirrored today. So when I raise my left hand, it's actually left for everybody. Right. Yeah. Just for lighting purposes. So 3-point lighting is basically 3 lights. Amazing that. So you have a light sort of to your left, a light sort of to your right, and a light behind you. And these are called, you have your key light, your fill light, and your backlight. 3 lights. Now I also have lights on my green screen. I'm going to shut those off and show you what it looked like without all this fancy lighting. So all my lights are off. You may have noticed. I don't need these glasses on right now. And as you can see, there's a window way up high, back up behind me, and that's letting in a little bit of light right here on my face. Oh my, spooky, yeah. And the glass in that window is actually these solid little cubes that you can't really see through. They're kind of warped a bit, so the purpose is just to let in a little light. So that's the light you see right here on my face currently. But as you notice, there's nothing. And also, this camera has an excellent low light sensor. So I pick up okay. But again, it's fairly flat. There's not a lot of definition here. There's some on the chair, which is nice. We like that. We like that little bit of backlighting. And so in 3-point lighting, let me get to the proper thingy. We have the key light. Now I have 2 what Elgato calls key lights. So I have my key light over here, my fill light over here, and backlight is kind of above me slightly and back just a bit. So we'll turn on key light and let the camera adjust a minute. And now you can see it has most of my face, but now I have the shadow over here. And, I'm not so well defined. I need something to kind of bring out this part of my face a little bit. And get rid of some of the shadow here, formed by the hat, things like that. And so I'll turn on the fill light. Now the fill light is not as bright as the key light. It's just to kind of fill in the shadow and help add some definition to the face. So I turned that on. And now you can see where, hey, look, I have a face. I'm kind of looking over here because this is my color monitor that I'm looking at, making sure that things are as I think they're going to be live. So now I have that shadow filled in. Yay. But I'm still, it's the top of my chair here still kind of blends into the background of the green screen. So I turn on my backlighting. And notice not only does it help with my green screen, just happens to be how I set it up, but now I got a little bit of light right here and then on my hat, but a little bit of light right here to kind of help separate out the chair from the green screen. And that's 3-point lighting. Yay! It's just to get you lit on film and not be overexposed. And I'll talk about light settings and everything in a little bit. I want to do that. Now, my green screen also needs lights. And 3-point lighting is just to light you. It's not going to light anything else. It's just going to light you. So it make your face bright and everything. And there's something called off-key lighting, and you'll see this in film noir a lot, where the part of the face that's close to the camera will be where the fill light is instead of the key light. So it'll be a little darker on, like if I turn left, this would be more light, or this would be darker, this would be lighter, and it creates a certain effect, right? And you can do that kind of things with shaping lights and everything. But yeah, it's just so people can see you. It doesn't, and keep your background kind of shadowy, and you stand out from it because you got this bit of light going on overhead and right on top of my hat here. I'll change hats and maybe I can display that a little better here. So I'll turn down the backlight a bit. As you can see, I'm kind of now, it's less dynamic of a shot, right? There's not really much separating me from the background of my green screen. Now I turn it on a bit. And as I increase the light, you can see, hey, not only am I have the fortunate of my green screen being a little lighter, but now there's a bit more light on my head and on the chair, kind of separating me from the background. And then lighting my green screen, that's another, I have 3 lights on my green screen, so I gotta reach down here to turn one on. Because you have to light your green screen too, otherwise stuff, when you're looking at a stream and you see someone with a green screen, but there's like all this shadowy, they have a graphic, but it's kind of shadowy and dark and everything, and like extends out from them, it's because they don't have lights on their green screen. Or not enough light on their green screen. So you want to try to eliminate that. So there's my one light. I turn that up. That kind of fills that in. And for your green screen, oops, wrong light. What you're going for is an even sort of backwash of light on it. You want it all to be relatively the same. Whereas on you want to create definition by turning down your fill light, your key light, and adjusting your backlight so that you stick out more. So now I'll turn on my green screen. Let's see here. One moment. There it is. And it's just a filter. Bam. And look, my green screen's on. So if you want to see what I look like with out the lights on the green screen, or what happens, I'll turn those off. And let's turn off this overhead one too. And now you can see shadow. And so what you do by lighting your green screen is eliminate that. I turn the light back on. Add in the fill. Let the camera adjust. And do that. And then I'm back to normal. Well, you know. But also, if I should show you in reverse too, if I turn on the fill light first. So everything off again. Chroma key off. Okay, and big lights off. All right. So as you can see, because I have auto settings on my camera, it adjusted for the lighting conditions. And your camera sensor light, or camera sensor light, your camera has an iris just like your eyes, And so the more light you let in, the smaller that gets or the wider it gets, depending on light dark. This camera is really good low light stuff, so that's why you can see me as good as you can right now. But if I turn on the fill light first, and again, we wait for the camera to adjust. Okay. And as you can see, I got some definition going on here, but mostly this is shadowy. And then if I turn on key light again, it's going to be bright till it adjusts. There you go. Then I turn the backlight on. Ooh, look at that. And then we can do the other thing by turning everything back off. Yay, back to off. And just start with the backlight. Turn on the backlight. There you go. Got a little definition of the chair. As you can see, my face still not lit up very much. So, turn on these lights. So we'll do backlight. Wait for the camera to adjust a bit. Fill light, a little brighter, and there we go. Now put these back on because it is brightened to my eyes. All right, that's that light. And I'll turn the filter back on. In OBS, it's the chroma key filter that filters out the green screen and lets you add in your background. Let's talk about the lights. I have Elgato key lights for my key light and my fill light. And those are the most expensive lights I had because, I don't know, I didn't know any better. Thank you for detailing steps. Lighting is something so many of us struggle with, green screens or not. Yeah. Yeah, I thought it would be useful just to show off basic 3-point lighting. Because when you're just starting out, you're setting up a camera, 3-point lighting will get you very, very far. And now we're going to dig into a bit more about lighting. So I have 2 Elgato lights, right? For my key and my fill. And then I got these $20 lights off of Amazon, which are photographer lights. And they're amazingly bright. It does this light here, and it does the other one light puts light on my green screen over here. And then I have a smaller light, which I don't know where the other one is, but I have a smaller light. Again, a pair, less than $20 on Amazon. It's a small rectangular light. And these lights are sometimes called kickers. And you put them low to the ground and shine them up, and it just sort of fills in some of that lower shadow that maybe your lights up here don't get. Because you want to look more dynamic, and your green screen, you need it to be all the same sort of flat white color temperature, so your green screen is actually effective and can give you neat backgrounds, like so. You don't need fancy Elgato key lights, like I have. As long as you have a light or a couple of lights where you can control the brightness and color temperature, because brightness and color temperature are not the same thing. You can use different color temperatures to get what we call a warm look or a cool look if you go to blue or the orange level. But basically, use the brightness so you can be seen on screen. You have good sculpting to your face with the light, and use the color temperature for your skin tone. So since I'm fairly pale and white, I have my lights set more to the into the orange of the color spectrum, as it would be called. And that just helps me to not be totally pale, but gives me a little bit of color in the face. Now I'll turn off my lights again, and you can see the change from just my pale self to me being light. So again, let the camera adjust. And now you see the green screen without any light on it. And you can see I'm more pale, especially right in here. Then I turn the lights on again, especially the key light and the fill light. And once the camera adjusts for lighting, I turn this light on again. And that light, and now you can see I'm not quite as pale. I have a little more orangish color, in my skin, and it still looks natural. It looks like I have fleshy bits, right? And I'm not some sort of ghost floating on your screen. So when you're looking for a light, even if you just use a ring light, make sure it has, you can change the color temperature and the brightness. Some lights only let you do one. If it lets you change the color of the light as well, bonus. But mostly, you want to be able to change the color temperature and the brightness. You need at least both of those things for a light that's going to be on your face and on camera, because it will help with your skin tones and it will help make you be seen on stream, which is the goal, really. So yeah, so look for those things. You can just have a ring light on you too. They're fairly effective. And when you see streamers who have sort of the bookcase or the shelving behind them, and they have the RGB lights, notice that those RGB lights are not as bright as the light on them. That's on purpose. That's so the background doesn't outshine your subject, which in this case would be you. And so you always want those lights to be kind of a softer color, or what we call softer colors. That's why we go for the blues and the purples and that sort of pink. And it just creates sort of a warmth or a coolness, depending on what light color you use. And it doesn't draw the background into harsh focus. That's also why background is blurred, because you're the subject, the people are the subject, the people are the important things, unless you're mini painting, and then that's a whole nother setup. But if it's just you on screen, make sure you're getting kind of the most light, that you're the most dynamic thing, and that if you have a background or anything, it has some light, but it's not so much light that it's stealing focus from you. You also don't want big bright lights in your scene. So like if you have, say, a ceiling light with a fan in it, make sure that's out of frame, because that can be distracting, because the large points of light is where the eye is going to go, and it won't be on you. So ultimately, stick with 3-point lighting. Technique's been around for a very, very long time. And you'll pretty much always have good lighting on yourself, even if you don't have a green screen. Now, there's something to be said. You do want the lights at a distance, especially LED bulbs made a lot of amazing, and LED light panels made a lot of amazing advancements in light. Now, we've all seen the kind of the studio thing where there's this big, huge light, and it has these plastic flaps around it. Those plastic flaps are called barn doors, by the way. And they let you shape the light, but it's just a big old bulb in there of a certain temperature, and it's just boom, light, fast. And that's why they usually have them away from the subject, because it's a lot of light spilling out onto the person, where LEDs aren't as hot. We can have them closer to us. We still want them right up on us, but we can have them closer to us. We can do various color temperatures and other lighting effects just by tweaking a knob or adjusting something in software, where before you would have to think about adding filters in front of the light. So like a red gel, which is a piece of red plastic, you'd put in this metal thingy and you'd put that over the light, and then the light would shine through the gel and you'd get, a red light essentially. And you can mix and match colors and do cool things with color. But now it's all just either on a control box or in software, and we don't have to worry about these big, huge, very hot lights, and we don't need quite as much space between us and the light as we used to. Plus, you want space for your camera to move around, right? So yeah, with digital cameras and LED lights, it's made it very easy to look really good on stream for not a lot of money. Like I said, to the light that is on my green screen and the light that's overhead, now they're just flat white lights, and that's all I need those to be. I just, I have a dial on them that lets me control their brightness, and I just sort of need them to be flat white light on my green screen, and right here and here, the lights on me is where you really need the adjustable color temperature, because those are, you're closer to the camera. That light is closer to the camera and on your skin, and those are the lights where you want to consider your skin tone and really adjusting that. But light for your green screen and light at the top of your head can just be a flat white color, and that's all they need to be. And so sometimes you have to play with adjusting light. So before you start stream or whatever, you may want to go, okay, today's the day I test my audio, and I adjust the audio in my headset. I play with VSTs, I play with different sound options, I do recordings, and then another day you play with your lights, and you spend a couple hours doing that. Now, all this is just to light you, because that's largely what we deal with is one subject. And then everyone else is over Zoom, and they all have their own lights. And yeah, so I'm going to go on a little bit in the topic some more, because if the light is too harsh on you, and again, without LED bulbs, this is something that would have to be more common. You could put basically the soft boxes, which were just kind of a box that would go around the bulb and have a like a white cloth over it to soften the light. Or if the ceilings were white, or you had a white poster board, you could bounce the light off that poster board onto you once again, so the light's not so harsh, because if the light is too much, it's overblown, and the camera sensor just doesn't know what to do with it, and get big white blobs of light on screen, and that part of the image is just gone. So it's really a balance between having enough light on you to properly be seen, to kind of show off your skin tones, because your camera is going to capture light different than your eyeball is. So that's why you use light to adjust these things. Now we have really good webcams now, though, that do excellent in low light and everything. So even if you're just starting off with a simple ring light, you'll probably want a ring light and then some back RGB lighting. Or if you're like me, you have a green screen, and you're going to want a little distance between your lights and your green screen. You don't want the lights right up on the green screen. The lights need to be able to spread out onto the green screen, and you do need a little bit of room. So it's like light, your key light, and your fill light. Your overhead light, your green screen lights are kind of back here, and then your green screen even further back. And that's kind of your setup in 3D space. right? And then you want your camera between your key light and your fill light. All right. So if there's any questions on that, we can go over that. And again, this is 3-point lighting to light one person, you, in that. Studio lighting, lighting for more people is a different thing. But by and large, most what I deal with is going to be one person in their home on a Zoom call or whatever you use, Twitch Guest Star, Google Meets, Teams, right? This is just so you look good and you can help others go, okay, do you have something that can kind of block that sunlight coming in on you? Do you have, is there a light you can turn on over here and direct it that way? Because we also have to be conscious of what other people have available to them. And as a producer, and just helping them look as good as they can with what they have available. Or if someone's in a hotel room, I'm not going to ask them to bring their whole lighting setup with them on a trip, right? That's not happening. Lurking and listening so I can learn what I need to know. This great stuff. Thanks, Rex. So, and that's another thing. We deal with people in very different lighting situations all the time. And it's just thinking about how to help them get the most out of the light with what they have. And basically anything you can do to get some light in the face and create a little separation of them from their background. That's kind of what you're looking for. And there's so many techniques. And if you want to read up on lighting and what all the terms are, because LED lights are a whole deep dive into themselves. Color temperature is a big, expansive topic that you can look up. So go to Google, do that. I'm not going to get in that here because that's a lot. You just sort of need to adjust lights so you look good. Do you find it's better to experiment with physical lighting first before tackling software solutions, aside from Zoom's auto adjust? Do you find it's better to experiment with physical lighting first before yes. Yeah, I would do what you can on you, and then with your physical light, and if there's software solutions. But some of the lights, like the Elgato key lights, are controlled by software. My camera, which is the Insta360 Link, brilliant camera. Good point, right? But yeah, everything you can do before you get into an auto adjust thing, or what your camera does is good, and then let your camera help highlight everything and bring everything out and see what the camera does after you kind of have your light down. So maybe you turn some stuff off that your camera does, or you turn on your lights and you look and you're like, actually, that's pretty good, camera, thanks. And a lot of cameras in the software you can adjust for various things. You can make it various color temperatures. You can sort of expand the iris or close the iris down, letting certain amounts of light in and all that. And that is that topic would take far too long to get into, because there's so many different types of cameras, so many different types of software to control those cameras and everything. And I can say, sure, do this, but it may not work the same on your webcam. I can tell you the general principle of the thing, what it's meant to do, but how it's actually going to look, and if it actually looks good for you, that's something you're going to have to play with. So that is 3-point lighting. Yeah, do what you can before you enter in software, like before you enter in Zoom. Look at if you're using a webcam, you at least have software where you can see what you look like just through the webcam. So adjust with that first before starting into Zoom, and do that. That's probably the best advice, is use the native software first before going into Google Meets and Zoom or whatever. Because if you look good to yourself there, it's probably easier to shut off a couple things in Zoom than it is to fiddle with a bunch of other things that's more local to you. And again, lighting for a group, that's different. You kind of got the same principles, but usually if you're lighting a group of people and you're in a TV studio, you have this huge light rack up above you, and you have all these lights coming down, and you just want to wash over everything with some light. You want to have a little bit of a background bounce and things, and that talking about backgrounds, it's another key. So just like cooking or audio, start with the best material you can and then fiddle. Yep. Cooking, Rex. I think you two need to have a conversation. Let's see here. So, backgrounds. So the background, between interesting and busy can be a fine line. So, make sure your shelves are organized and, don't have a ton of junk on them. If you're using the typical streamer, hey, I look at all my stuff I have on my shelf thing, is keep it neat and tidy background, and that way it's not distracting again from you. Because people are important, and so you want to have your lighting and everything, make sure it highlights the person. Everything you do should be highlighting the people on your streams and everything. So maybe when you're considering overlays, you give people a little bit bigger of a box than you normally would, or something, because the person is far more interesting than anything else. The movement of the person is more dynamic than anything else you're going to put on screen. So do things to highlight the people, because people are interesting. It's just how we are all kind of wired to look at things, right? The movement, the highlights, the things that they do is what should be grabbing attention, because you want to have more focus on people than you do on product. Cameras have always needed light to capture the image onto film, and if there's too much light, it's overexposed. And sunlight is typically, direct sunlight is typically not your friend, right? If you have an overcast day, that's a lot better for filming outside than it is at direct sun, because then you want ways to deflect the sun back off your subjects. So maybe you take that piece of poster board and you turn it towards the sky where the sun is, and you get it going. Definitely after audio, lighting is the next thing most noticed on streams. Yeah. So take advantage of good lighting technique. And again, you can look up, just Google 3-point lighting, and you'll find more than a dozen web pages on the topic. That's basically what I showed off here, minus the green screen stuff, is 3-point lighting. So Google that, and that can give you lighting setup tips and other things like that. Just remember that dealing with LED bulbs and dealing with, say, studio bulb, it might be a different thing. The range of how intense the light is could be different. And if you really want to go down the rabbit hole of LED colors and color temperature and thing like that, you can do that too, because there's a whole big science to it, and it's a lot to understand. Again, I'm just trying to get you set up and going without you having to, know Kelvin and all this other things. Just make it so you look good and you can go. While ring lights are neat and very useful, and yeah, I've seen a lot of successful streamers with just a ring light on them, you do also want to consider kind of a some sort of backlight, some sort of light to highlight, get a little bit of this chair, get a little bit of you to separate you from whatever your background is, whether it's your bedroom, a bookcase, whatever. And then if you're showing off your bedroom or you don't have a green screen and it's just whatever, make sure it's clean and orderly so it's not distracting to the audience. And if you put some light up on there, make it RGB, soft, cool colors so that that light from that ring light makes you the focus. And if someone's near a window and they got sun coming in and it's just like right here, ask them if they got a shade they can pull down or anything to put up a cloth up by the window, whatever they can do to knock that down so it's not so harsh on them and you get a better product out of it and they look better on the screen. The number of my coworkers who insisted on sitting with the open window behind them saying, I don't know why I'm so washed out. And I just smirk, right? Like, yeah, that's a good point, because the open window behind you may provide you with light to work, but on a camera, the brighter light, the camera's going to go, oh, that bright light, that's important. I'm getting that. And then suddenly you become in shadow because it's like, light, yay! And then, but none of that light is actually on you, and it's all on the window in the back. So yeah, and when I was thinking about my desk placement and where I was going to set up, and I'm in a fairly big room, and so I had to think about where I'm going to be, where I had the most control over my lighting. And so at night, if I'm looking at my stream or I'm recording a YouTube video and I have my lights off and there's no light coming through that window up there, it's just dark. You can barely see me unless I turn on the lights. And that's completely on purpose because I want the lights to be able to focus on me and give you a much more dynamic and better looking product, or video in this case. Think about where you're placing stuff. And I know it's a lot to think about because you have to think about lighting, audio, camera placement, right? You want your audio to be in place that's not going to get a lot of echo, or where you can do some amount of soundproof. And you also want your lights to be in a place where you can control the light to some level or block the window. And then you got to think about where your camera goes in relation to where your lights are, where your mic is to pick up your voice the best, and where it's not going to be in the way of other things. And it can be a lot to think about, but break it down into steps. Like I said, one day you're figuring out lights, and the next day you're figuring out audio, figuring out camera placement. Just take your time with it. And if you tackle one thing a day at a time, and make sure this is plenty of time before stream, not like 3 days before stream, but on off time, you want to do this, take an hour or two, and instead of doing X, work on what you need to look good on stream and sound good on stream, and you'll have a fairly good product. It is so much easier now to put yourself on the internet to look and sound good on stream than it ever has been. We have amazing mics you can get for under $100. We have amazing mics at the $150 level. You don't need too much of a fancy light. You don't have to spend a lot on lighting either. Just as long as you can adjust the brightness and color temperature, those are the two things I'd look for in a light. If it just does one or the other, then maybe skip it. But the light, that's on you. I would definitely recommend color temperature and a brightness adjustment. That way, you also don't have to mess with getting gels on the light and putting various gels for your skin tone, you can just adjust the light, the color of the light, instead of um, looking at gels and getting these sheets of colored plastic to put over your lights to achieve a certain effect. Right? You don't have to do that. You can if that's what you have. But yeah, as always, screenshot your lighting settings if you have addressable controlled lights and save them to a notebook. Yes. Yes, I have all of my settings screenshot and saved to a folder, and that's in the cloud. So if I ever need to rebuild my computer, I can open that file that I have in the cloud, because it's in the cloud, it's just always going to be there, and take a look at the JPEGs or PNGs I made. That's also especially helpful for when you're setting up the chroma key filter in OBS, because of your lights. Like, I can show you my settings for chroma key, but those work for my light setting. Those are what works for how I have my lights set up and everything. And if I were to add another light or somehow change those things, I'd probably have to adjust them again. And so that's another thing you have to play with is the so on your camera, and you right click and you go into filters, and there's a filter called chroma key, and that's what allows you to take out your green screen being green and being whatever background you want. I found the lights that I had ordered off Amazon a few years ago. Now, I thought these were cheaper, but apparently the photography lights, oh, I see. These come with a case now. I swear I got these for less, but my backlight and the light on my green screen are currently $89, but for two lights, it's pretty good. Those are right here, and that's why I'm using for the oops, let me sit a little closer and down. That's why I'm using for the overhead light, and that's the same light that's filling this side of my green screen. And then the little kicker lights I was talking about, these are a little over 30, and they come with gels and things you can put in front of the light. So if you want different colors, you can do that. There's those. And so between those two lights, or between those two links, I have lights on my green screen and a light in my backlight. The big thing for me was that I had adjustable stands for the lights, which is what I really liked off that first link I put in chat. But yeah, so take a look at lights. There's a lot, if you can get adjustable stands for them, and consider your space, because that's another thing. The Elgato key lights, they come with little stands that you shove up onto the desk, and then they look like a Pac-Man mouth, and then you have a little screw cap down here. You screw in, and it creates pressure, and it holds that light in place. So the Elgato lights are stuck to the desk. The light on this light here for the green screen and the light that does my backlight are freestanding, but they have stands I can extend up and down and move around, and also adjust the light pointing down, or I can tilt it this way or this way, whatever way I need it to go. And then the smaller light, that second link there, is pointed at the green screen, and it's down, and it's on I have a little side desk over here that's off camera all the time, and that light is just on that desk, and it's about this big. That's this big, and it's just pointing at the green screen to get rid of some extra shadow. If you're looking for the fancy Elgato key lights, those are, let's see here, lighting. Elgato has a ring light. They have a lot of various lights, but the key lights are what I have from them. I'll put that link into chat as well. There's that. They have a ring light. They have a more portable key light Air. They have key light Mini, so you can use the kicker lights I talked about. would be your key light mini in this case, and light strips. So they have your full lighting lineup, or just search Amazon for these things as well. But like I said, look for brightness and color temperature, both those controls on the light. And when you're looking at, say, a movie, and it looks like there's sun coming in the window, a couple of things might be happening there. They do something called gelling the windows, which knocks down the harsh sunlight to such a degree where it doesn't overexpose the film or the product on the video, because it's mostly all digital now. They've, it's maybe a studio and they have a light up there above to make it look like sunlight coming that in, and they have the window gelled. So again, it doesn't overblow the I lost words. Overblow the subject or any part of the scene. So yeah, and use light to focus on what you need it to focus on, which mostly for us is people. Amazing that, right? But if you're on say a mini or something, you're gonna want as just enough light to get rid of a lot of shadows. Now there's gonna be some shadows because unavoidably, go back and check out the Tech Friday with Zero, where we talk about lighting a 3D printer, and because of the way the arm moves, that makes the 3D thing. There's almost no avoiding having some sort of shadow there. So just make it look as dynamic as you can with what you have. And, consider reflection and placement of the camera and everything. In older movies, why do you not see the camera? Because the camera isn't directly behind the mirror. It's a little off to the side, so you don't see it in the reflection. In the movie Contact, which I really like Contact. That's a great movie. On the DVD, there was, I love having making ofs on DVDs. There's a scene where the main character opens a mirror. Well, that mirror is a green screen. It doesn't actually exist. She opens a cabinet, right? And there's a mirror on the cabinet, and he's opening it, but that's all a green screen effect. That there is no mirror at all. I thought of that shot when you said the mirror. Yeah. So you can do things like that, and again, lighting green screens in big studios full of green screens is its own thing, and there's other places to go to look that stuff up. But yeah. Grew up reading Starlog and watching behind the scenes featurettes. Love this stuff. Yeah. Search into Google contact mirror scene, and you can see what they did and how they did it, and why, if it was a camera, how people kind of stare in that going, how did they do that without showing the camera, type of thing. And there's a lot of explainer videos on that. And if you haven't seen Contact, it came out in 1997. Watch Contact. It's a good movie. Oh, you know what I wanted to do also for fun is I put LED bulbs in my ceiling, and I wanted to kind of play with those a bit on screen, see if I could get different colors going. So bear with me. I'm going to turn off my lights again. Let's see. Ooh. So that's my key light and my fill light off. As you can see, there's this big shadow because of my hat right here, and just a little bit of light here and here. All right, let's turn off this filter so you get the green screen. And then I'll turn off this light, that light. And I got bend down for this light. Okay. Now then, I'm going to go to an app on my phone, because that's just how these bulbs works. And let's see what happens when I change the color. Oh, I got it turned on first. Ta-da! Okay, that's a light right up there. It's back. It's closer to my green screen. That's why you can't kind of see that the light more there. And then let's adjust the color. Make it blue. Make it blue. Ooh, look at that. Then if I make this other light, turn that on. So that light is further that way. And you can see it kind of washes out the blue a bit because it's white. But if I make that blue as well. Ooh. Can I get even more blue? Let's find out. I got a couple more lights here. Let's play with this one. Okay, now that bulb is that way. Make that blue. Oops. Make that blue. Oh, look at that. I can make that red. Ooh. Welcome to DC After Hours, right? And I can play with the brightness here. Welcome to DC After Hours. Okay. And there's one more bulb I can play with, but I don't know if it will actually do anything because it's kind of far away. It's on the way other end. Nice effects. I wish I could do more fun things with lighting, but green screen means not, right? Okay. Oops. Light bulb over there. Please turn on. Okay, you're on. Nah, you're not. You're really not doing a lot, but it adds a little something. But I can be completely blue. And again, if I take a picture with my camera phone, it's going to look different than how I appear on my video screen because I can make all my lights blue and take a picture with my camera, and I am very, very blue. So everything blue, not bad. Oh, that light over there is blue too. Okay, everything blue. So yeah, fun with lights. All right, I'm gonna put them back to the normal color I need them on. Would have to have the barn doors on your light so the green screen is not getting splashed with the other lights. Yep, that leads to a lot of setup. Yeah, and these bulbs are just regular ceiling lights. 60-watt LED bulbs. So this lighting here is just with the LED bulbs, and I don't want any of them on because once I turn on all my other lights, it's too much. You can already see where it's quite bright right here on my neck, and with all of them on, it's not as focused as I would like, and just creates a lot of splashing. Okay, there we go. So, another demonstration. Backlight on first. Da, 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 da. Wait for the camera to adjust to it. Other screen backlight. Ta-da! Other green screen backlight. And the main lights. Ooh. Now I can turn the filter back on. Magic. Hey, look at that. It's like there's not even a green screen there. Amazing. So yeah, if you're looking at your stream or anyone's stream and you see kind of shadowy bits there, they just need more light on their green screen. if their heads kind of fade in and out of the graphic a bit, there isn't a green screen, but they just turned on having a background in Zoom or something like that. And so when you see people's parts of people kind of fade in and out of their background, that's because there's no green screen there. They just turned on the background filter. But when you see the shadows, like I showed earlier, that's just not enough light on the green screen. So stuff to think about when you're doing all that. And now's the time when we dance. Okay, enough dancing. So any more questions on lighting, please put them in chat. Got some time left today if you want to talk about anything else. Otherwise, we're going to look at some tech news. Oh, you know what? I'm going to go over... I'm going to do a bit of a spoiler and give you my guest lineup. On May 5th, I will have Stephen Joyce back, and we will be talking about codecs and the importance of why we both think that AV1 is definitely the future, the way streaming's going, and what a codec is and what that means and everything. So that'll be May 5th. And then on May 19th, I will have Painting Pirate. We'll talk about mini painting, and a special Tech Friday on Saturday. So May 27th, which is a Saturday, I'll be talking to Lauren Urban about audio podcasting. So come by Saturday on May 27th for that one. And then I believe it is June 3rd. Or wait, April, May, June 2nd. Sorry, June 2nd would be the next Friday. I will have Jennifer Kretschmer on, and we will talk about disability tech. So that's what's coming up for your Tech Friday schedule. Again, follow me on Twitter because that's where I'll be posting the graphics and everything, promoting them each week. So yeah. So fantastic lineup. Yeah. Great crew to bring in. Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad they could do it. Lauren was only available on Saturdays, so we're doing it on a Saturday because I would rather talk to a guest than be on Fridays all the time or whatever. You know, if it was a pre-record, whatever, but we'll be doing the live stream of it on May 27th instead of May 26th when it would normally be. So there's not going to be Tech Friday, May 26th. It'll be Saturday, May 27th, because that's when Lauren could talk to me, and that's why I'm doing it, because I would rather just have the person on than skip a total weekend or whatever. So yeah, so if you want to be on here, just because I call this Tech Friday doesn't mean we have to do it on a Friday every single time. I would much rather have your knowledge to present to an audience than be so rigid and not have you on. I'd rather share it with people than, go, well, that doesn't work, and just not have that time with that person. So I got a little time. I'm just going to look up some tech articles. Anything you guys want to talk about, please go into chat. This is now our time together. If you have any questions on lighting or any of the other tech stuff talked about at all, please feel free. But let's check some websites, see what's going on, and enjoy our Fridays. We're just going to kind of hang out, and then we'll go do a raid. I don't know much about Blue Sky, but that's picking up some steam for some reason. Could just be, hey, look, we're the new thing in town for a month and then go away. Who knows? I sure don't. So, we talked about this. This is from Ars Technica. But we talked about this the other week. I think we talked about this. Man, I don't remember where I talk about stuff. But YouTube is doing the podcast thing. And as part of that, podcasts go live in the US with inclusion in YouTube Music. Now there's app support. So here's an article on that from Ars Technica. There you go. So yeah, now there's sort of an official podcast flag, and you can make your old video playlists into podcasts, things like that. And now we have an official podcast spot on YouTube Music. So yay. Oh, D&D related, the newest UA has launched. It's 50 pages, the largest UA that they've put out to date. Check that out, and then when the survey opens, because I know y'all got opinions, put all those opinions in the survey when that launches. But check it out now because it's big. It's a lot of info. Looking forward to diving into that UA content, as there's a lot there. Yeah, I was reading some of it the other day when it first come out, because I have to know this stuff. But yeah, there's a lot. Oh boy. And and on the other side of the coin, we have Paizo. They've announced the Pathfinder 2nd Edition Remaster project. So if you're into Pathfinder, there's a 2nd Edition project, remaster project. Take a look at that. Seems to be a way to, streamline the rules. That's the word. I was trying to think of the word streamline. So look at that. But yeah, and the other thing about playtest material is definitely read through all of it first, because some stuff connects to other things and didn't make sense until I got to the other thing. Like there's spells before wizards, and I was reading through some of the spells. I'm like, wait, why would I do this? And then I read how the wizard class actually interacts with that, and that made much more sense. So definitely take your time going through that. And if you see something and you're just looking at that one definition, make sure you find where it applies elsewhere in that, and it'll make a little more sense. And then if you don't like it from there, you don't like it from there, but definitely, check all the boxes first. Because I like wizards a lot, and so the class wizards in D&D, and so when I see new spells, I'm like, why would I do this? But then I saw how they get applied to the class in the class section, in the wizard class section where that info should be. It made a little more sense, and so. Yeah, definitely. You can't just read the thing and then go on, oh, I read this thing, and now I understand how it applies throughout the game. Probably not. You're going to actually have to read the associated sections or the associated class with that to make sure you understand what's going on. Because it's a big document and has a lot of things that connect to each other. And you just got to read through it to find all the connections. It's not difficult by any means. It just takes a little bit of time. And, you're like, oh, that makes, light bulbs will go off. Yeah, okay. Let's see. What else do we have here? Nothing there, really. Gonna wind down here, make sure. If you haven't taken a look, there's a product out called Alchemy RPG, and I backed them a while ago. They put up a new Kickstarter, and they're a reimagined VTT thing, and so I have one of their. They had this founder deck thing last year or whatever, so I got in on that just to clarify that. Anyway, they have a new Kickstarter up. Take a look at them. It's interesting what they're doing. And again, there's a lot of other VTTs out there, so by all means, whatever your favorite is, but at least glance at Alchemy for a bit. I'm not sponsored by them or anything. I just think it's a kind of a cool idea, or I should say, a cool implementation of the VTT things. And there's similar things to Alchemy going on as well. All right. Need to take a look at that, as I think it fills in some stuff that is missing from some tools. Yeah, I have to look at it again. I haven't looked at it for quite a while. I need to look at it again. And then it might be cool for other systems, because once the at the D&D Creator Summit, we got to see some of the D&D VTT out, and depending how that works, that'd probably be my way to go to D&D. But then I'm kind of hedging towards Alchemy right now for maybe other systems and things like that. Again, how it interacts with streaming, don't know. Is it going to be the best thing? Don't know. If there's not an option where I can highlight people, where I can set a scene where it's, the people are important, if I always have to have a map or some sort of background on screen, that doesn't work for me. I have to be able to switch to a scene where I can bring up all the people, make sure their cameras are as big as possible, and really highlight them and their performance, rather than having a map or a background or music flowing all the time. Okay, so background music is an okay thing to have all the time, but so take that part out. Blah, 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 reverse a little. But rather than just having the players in these small windows and a big old map is cool, but again, that makes the map the primary thing, and the people are important. And so I need a way to switch between your experience on screen. And again, this is just for producing live plays, right? If you're doing this with friends, maybe that's exactly what you need. But for live plays, you want to consider your cast, because again, people are important. So I really want to find a game using VTT. I have no experience with it at all. Feels like a mini or VTT based stream would be a lot more about showcasing the tech versus the players. Yeah, which, I mean, call us to demo your VTT, please. Yes, please. We would like to demo all the VTTs, all of them. So I will put on a show, and then I will tell you what I think about your VTT implementation. Because a lot of these, it is for, they do their jobs, right? Which is for you, a group that can't get together in physical meet space, and they do their jobs for that. And streaming an actual play is not necessarily in their calculations. And it would be nice if a VTT had streaming in their calculations. And again, being able to switch, all it takes, like, again, as I was talking about other things, other pieces of hardware and things like that, all it takes is one or two different things, and I am on your wagon train, because you are suddenly the superior product. And some products just miss the boat for me by one or two things. And it depends on the product you're talking about. I can't apply one universal rule. But yeah, if product X over here added, certain dials, and then, well, I don't know about losing Stream Decks, but maybe even replacing a Stream Deck if a certain company just did XYZ. So if you wanted to be my VTT of choice, that's an interesting roundtable once most of us get our hands on them. Producers and players and VTTs with an eye towards AP. Yeah. That's a good idea, Herb. I will happily run that round table. And you're invited. But yeah, so if there's a VTT out there that considers, oh, this works with OBS. Oh, this allows me to adjust scenes and move the players around into different windows and things like that. And I can just make it a window capture into OBS. Like, there's not a lot of heavy lifting it has to do. It just has to do this thing where I can adjust scenes to highlight the players. And then I can bring that along with their music and their audio into OBS as a window capture or as an app capture. I'm using you. And that's what it takes. I'm 1,000% more interested in your product if you can accomplish those things within it. And it's usually not your goal. That's fine. But if you want your product on screen, that's how you get your product on screen. If the VTT let me put my players in initiative order with their cams, oh, that'd be cool too. If I had an easy way to make a scene and I could just put the players around in their initiative order, and then you kind of have like a secondary window thing and move them around and go, okay, let's switch to this scene now because I have you all in your initiative order over here. That's a little more work, I think, but that'd be pretty awesome. And if everyone you could also do something like that if everyone had a green screen, because then you take away the boxes, right? Like a Roll20 and guest star mashup. Yeah. Yep. So if you take away the boxes and you just have the people and they all have green screens for whatever background you're on, you can just move them around in OBS to wherever. You have them cut out and they're all approximately the same shape, but you have a scene where they don't have a box or anything like that, so you don't have to change around graphics too much. Or you can group them together in a different scene, with their graphics, and then move that whole thing around. And you could do that. That's a possibility. But if I could do all of that in a VTT, that'd be cool. I could go, hey, and everyone sees it then, too. Like, I move everyone, it just lines people up in their initiative order. DC out here with a big wish list, yeah. But yeah, even if we're just playing on VTT, and I could say arrange the people's windows in an initiative order, and then it just shuffles around their squares at the bottom. That'd be a big bonus too. Again, not the streaming bit, but that'd be cool if I just go, okay, here's your initiative order. And then it acknowledges I'm the DM, so I'm always, this little separate window. But then once I hit a button and it just ranges my initiative, and then everyone can look and know when their turn's next as well. That'd be a great thing, it just kind of goes, oh yeah, I can move these windows around because they're mine. Not even talking about broadcasting for it, just talking about functionality of you not being in the same meat space. I'm now imagining approach using Stream Deck, text file, streamer bot. Starts making notes. Excellent. I will look over your shoulder at these notes. So yeah, I'm excited about VTTs. I think they are cool. To produce a show with them is hard. I was producing a show for a bit with a particular VTT, and the way this VTT worked was that it was on someone's home server, right? So so the effectiveness of when the VTT changed on stream depended on my internet connection, how fast their home server was, and it didn't quite work out like it could. Like it was a smooth experience for the players, but for people watching, because it had to be it was on someone's home server and they weren't renting space on, some cloud server or anything. Because I was taking the info from this person's home server, it wasn't quite as smooth on stream as it was. And there were some other problems with it not quite working right here and there for people as well, but so yeah, if that's a consideration. If you're using a VTT and you have to put it on use a server or something, consider ponying up for space on a cloud server, because then it's going to be fast enough to broadcast for everyone. Otherwise, you're probably going to have issues, because remember, if it's on your own server, you also have 4 to 5 other people connecting to that server as well, all trying to look at that same data, and it depends on your internet speed, their internet speed coming out, and if they're broadcasting to you as well. That's a lot of internet speed and a lot of load on their things, unless they have something truly dedicated to it, and it's probably better to rent that space in the cloud server to do that type of thing. Make it quick. Now, that was just that VTT. Like, I've seen Roll20 work really well, so I will say Roll20, you work very well. This other VTT, because of the way it worked, not so much, but Roll20 is more, everything can be done over the website, so it's a little better. Let me catch up with chat. Now I'm imagining, yeah, okay. Start to think about how to pull the initiative data from a VTT or DBB to sort the views. Yeah, right? Live export of info to the producer's PC to allow the variables to prepare silver engineer things, obviously. Excellent. The data is there. Now I need to look at APIs. Yes. I think that's going to be the kicker with VTT and streaming. As you said, the robustness of where it's hosted and how optimized it is for players. Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely going to be a thing to think about. And yeah, so we know from the Creator Summit, the D&D VTT, at least the build they had worked on multiple platforms, but now, which is great that it can work on a mobile device and everything in its current state. But if I'm producing a show, how can I carry that into OBS, and how well does that work? So yeah, people who make VTTs, I have gone into a long explanation of how you win a recommendation from me, producer to the stars, right? Should have a little stamp. Producer to the stars approved. I've made myself laugh. You didn't make it to do the thing when you... I know. Oh, fine, I'll hit the button. Does button work? I don't know if the button works. Make it do the thing. There, did the thing. Okay, let's pause Pretzel, and let's do it one more time. All right. Hey, I'm DC, and I'm producer to the stars. Okay. Now I'm seeing This font with like my little logo underneath it in a circle that just says DC approved. Producer to the stars, DC approved. Oh, that's fantastic. Oh my. So there's about 10 minutes left of the stream. Any other questions, please ask. I'm going to see who's on that we can go raid. Looks like we have a Prax on. What's Prax doing? Carousel Court. Oh, hey. Cypher of Tier NPC house build. Yeah. We will definitely raid over there in just a few minutes. So any other questions, now is your time to ask, because you have the attention of... I don't think I need to say other words. And, oh, by the way, I ran a poll a couple of weeks, kind of regretting him having that button now. Oh, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, poll. Right. I ran a Twitter poll. That should be in your break bumper. It should. I really need to update that with a few things and get a few clips from different things. Put that in my break bumper. Because I do need to plan a video that when people come into my stream or come and look at my Twitch channel or go to my YouTube channel, I really need a intro video. I have not done that yet. Whispered you a clip of that. Excellent, thank you. Let's see here. Oh, so I ran a poll a few weeks ago after I dropped the Notion template of the production course, and go to ! templates. Second link there takes you through pre-production to post-production and all the stages. And so the Twitter poll, and I was at C2E2 over the weekend when I was running this poll, and I'm just getting back to it now. But the poll was decided that method that I have in that throughout that template should be called the Lasair method. So you have words now. Go, yeah, I use the Lasair method. Or the other choice was the DC way, but the Lasair method won. So, but use either. It was a narrow victory, so I think you could use either. But yeah, just say, do you know about the Lasair method? And make it sound impressive. And then show them the Notion template. That's really all you need to do. All right, so I'm going to go eat dinner. Actually, I'm going to post this clip. Thank you, Rex. Check out this clip. Producer to the stars. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to go. I need to have some dinner. Thank you all again for being here. This will be up on my YouTube Monday or Tuesday. So please check it out if you want to go back and watch anything. The VOD is also available on my channel. So I just want to thank you all for being here. Thank you for streaming. Learn a lot. Have a great weekend. Yeah, thanks. Thanks for being here. Appreciate that. Have a great weekend. Be kind to others. Be kind to yourself. And I will see you Monday, 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, for more Dredge. Talk to you then. Bye.